Woo woo! We are live. We are alive. Hello, world.
Yeah. What's up?
What's up? I'd like to introduce you to my friend Alison from the block.
I'm Alison, J-Lo's cousin.
She is J-Lo's long lost cousin. Oh my goodness.
And this is Megan Hill. I know a lot of you know Megan Hill.
Also from the block somewhere.
From the other block.
From some block somewhere. We're coming to you live today because we wanted to have a little conversation that you guys could peek in on about what is your reality and where do you find it. I met Miss Alison, I don't know, it's like 10 years ago now.
Yeah, at least 10.
Yeah. I had just moved to Denver and she was a new bars facilitator. I was like a new mom, like kind of starting my own business, whatever, working with different things with Access. And I met Alison. And the thing that I remember about you is you were just doing things different. Like you were just like, there's this thing called Groupon. I don't even know if Groupon is still around.
It is, but not the same as it was.
And as a bars facilitator was really looking at, trying to get new clients and introducing to the bars, Access bars out there. And she put up a Groupon deal. So if you never experienced Groupon, the thing is that you put something out there for cheap and thousands of people would like sign up for it. And I remember because I booked a massage with somebody who had it on Groupon and she was like exhausted because she was making no money and having to do like thousands of massages.
Yes.
But you did it and you actually ran everyone's bars. How many bars did you run?
It was over 200 people. And I think I had just taken foundation maybe, and I had done a couple of bars classes, but I was still maybe like one bars class. I was still using the plastic chart, like my laminated chart. And I think I was getting paid maybe after Groupon took out their stuff, like $12 per session. But I was still so embarrassed. But I was like, I just got to go through with this, that I had to use this plastic thing and that people were paying me to do this bar stuff that I didn't even know how it worked. And I basically just told people to lay down and everyone thought it was a facial, or they're like, is it a facial? I'm like, nope, let me just show you. And so many people, it was great practice. And so many people got exposed to the bars and so many people loved it and so many changes.
I just love the story because to me, it's like when I look at this question is what is your reality and where do you find it? Your willingness to just leap and explore. And, at the time there was 8 million things going on, like with ways to create businesses, kind of like now. And you're like, I'm just going to try something totally off the wall. And your willingness to be that, I get, is sort of like a foundation in who you are. But I'm wondering, like, what is, we're here today, we're talking a little bit about the foundation class with Access. And did you have the permission to be that before you took foundation?
When I took foundation, I took it pretty quickly after the bars and I didn't know why I was taking foundation. I was like, well, it's the next thing. I really like this stuff and the bars changed me so much. And I think the real me was dragging the unconscious me through the mud. Like, we're doing this. I'm like, all right. So, and I was only making maybe $300 a week. And at the time, I don't remember what the foundation was, but it was way out of my budget. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put this on a credit card and see what happens. And the year, like after I took the foundation, my money tripled. I had to get a tax person. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to do taxes if I start a business. What? And so I started to learn these things, but the tools in the foundation I really got to use, and they gave me a lot of freedom in regards for being able to ask for things. So in creating the business, I was like, I know I can make a website. I can tell people about stuff. I don't really know how to make a business, but I'll ask a question like it says in the foundation, like, how do I get this out there. How do people see this? And how can I do it fast? Because I don't want to wait forever. And then I'm like, Groupon, this Groupon thing, you know, it'll get out there. People will try it. And if they like it, then they'll choose more. And then I still have that business. It's just bigger now. So it let me kind of tap into the energy of when I was a kid playing waitress with my brothers or restaurant, you know, and like I had to write down their order and they had to pay me fake money and they had to eat the invisible food, all of it. And I was like, oh, I literally took that energy and was like, okay, how do you create a business if you have no idea what you're doing? And then asking after the foundation like gave me freedom to not judge myself for how I created. The foundation is like, hey, how do you do it? And it might not look like everybody else, but the more I asked, the more things just started showing up. And now I have like employees and multiple rooms and bars. You know, everybody knows how to run bars at this place. And it's just like, who knew that it would be this from nothing, from just running people's bars for $12 an hour and massaging for $14 an hour.
I just love it. You know, I feel like when my first foundation, I did the same thing. I think we were probably like the same age, but I felt like I'd reached this point, I think it was like late 20s, basically, where I was like, this is what life is going to be like. Like, what? This is what adulting is like, you know? And like you said, like I remember there were sections on money that I didn't even really think I cared about money. That I was like, oh, wow, this is actually fun. You know, like, because I had started entering into the world of like 9 to 5 and salaries and like all this bullshit, you know, 401k plans. I'm like, this is really not that exciting. I can barely pay rent right now, you know?
Yes.
And then it made everything fun again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same, like, I feel like you're speaking, me too. I didn't know about money. I didn't even know that I liked money or could have it or deserved it until, you know, actually after a few years of doing the foundation, doing access classes. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Money just makes life easier. I would have never known. I thought it was going to be a struggle forever.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to see, you know, it's flash forward 10 years from now in the foundation class with everything in access, it's changed dynamically. And yet every time I do one, you know, we do one at least once a year as a certified facilitator. I am like brought back to the basics, like the potency of the basics and the body processes and like all this stuff. And it's like, oh my fucking God, like it's really, life doesn't have to be hard. It can be like this magical playground that you had as a kid. Yeah. But you're not a kid. And so you can actually, you know, people aren't like taking your lemonade stand away because you know, didn't get home on time or something, you know, it's like your life and you're creating it. And yeah, I just love that. It's like, I forgot how much my world opened up to like actually be able to create from what seemed, I would say, like I was like kind of crazy or nobody else got it, or, you know what I mean? Like this, like, make-believe fantasy world, but it was actually like access the foundation opened me up to being like, oh, this is the foundation of my reality. And what else can I add to it? You know, and this other thing that I was trying to live from, the rules of this, you know, the one that you're taught to grow up in or whatever, you know, which I didn't like anyway. I was like, gross.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like before I went on that route of the business thing and owning a business, I was traveling all the time and I'd basically like be home long enough to make money, like bartend, to make money to go travel. And my target was to go travel basically as much as possible and be like a backpacker, because I knew I could probably do that. Like hostels were $2 to $5 a night. Like that's great. And like you, I was like, I went to massage school, and because I knew I had to do something as a grown-up, I'm like, I gotta pick something. And I went to massage school, and afterwards I'm like, crap, I have debt. Like maybe I need to stay here. And my whole life was like, oh no, do I need to like buy a house? Do I have to like, am I supposed to have kids? I'm like 30 years old. What's going on? And like, I was like, I don't think I want to follow all of that. I'm not ready yet. Like, I didn't do enough with my life to even tell someone else to how to do their life.
Right.
That was my point of view. It's like being a mom or something. I'm like, I'm not done. Like in my world, I was like, I can't just like settle down and buy a house kind of thing. So I was like, what else is possible? And that's when all of this stuff started. And I lost my train of thought. It's gone.
I think you temporarily got on the future train that you almost went down.
Sure. That's what we're talking about.
And you were like, oh shit, I almost did that. I almost had a kid and bought a house.
I'm like,
and I was like, I did that. And here we go, you know, like.
Oh yeah, creating your future. So, it doesn't matter what you, like, it's not about the mistakes you made or didn't make or all of those things. Literally, no matter where you are at, if you are, you know, a person that just wants to be a backpacker or you've had kids and stuff and you're judging either of those, you can start wherever you're at and you get to create a totally different future that you have no idea how it's going to look like or how it's going to show up. Or if you keep, like, every time I do the foundation, it's like something new opens up that,
yeah,
like, oh, this is a world of possibilities and you just get to keep adding to it.
Yeah, it's a world, like we truly live in a world of possibilities. And especially I think out in the world right now, it's like people that I talk, like I actually feel sorry. I feel bad for people who don't know that there is a world of possibilities available, you know, like, I don't know, I meet them on a plane and it's like, it's just like they can't even, like, if I could just pull the veil back and be like, dude, you could fucking have anything, you know, like, what would you like to create? And so that for me is what the foundation is and what makes life so fun. You know, it's like you were backpacking and I decided to like be a good Midwestern girl and go ahead and get married and have a baby. And, you know, and that had its stuff, but
Thank God.
Yeah, but he's amazing. But I was miserable trying to do it the way that you're supposed to do it here. You know, like I remember, I mean, my whole birth was insane because I was like really trying to do it the right way, you know, and then being a mom the right way. I'm like, I've never fit in anywhere. Like, why would this be any different? And so for me, as you know, as a mom, and then with relationships, like it's kind of like there's either like there's the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it, and you're gonna fuck up either way. Right. And this is like, hey, here's what you have. Like, here's the life you've created so far. What would you like to change? And it's so much about the energetics. You know, it's like it's your perspective of what's going on. If you've already decided that, you know, your relationship is crap and you're going to hell, or being a mother is, you know, you have to be perfect, like being a mother, Jesus Christ, like there's just a judgment. But being able to be like, okay, she was being really good.
Dog mother too.
Yeah. I'm not being a very good dog mom. Another adventure. But it's like anything's changeable and you can change all of it. And a lot of it has to do with your perspective, you know, like what if everything is possible?
Yeah. It's so funny that the energetics that the foundation changes to, I just remember so many things have happened, you know, over 10 years doing and taking the foundation 700 times we have. But I remember the very first foundation I ever took, the weirdest thing changed and I didn't even ask to change it. And I was like, okay, this stuff is real because this is too weird. It was probably the second day or third day. At the time it was foundation and level 1. And this was in the foundation part, so the first half. And it was just me and the facilitator one-on-one. And I was like drooling and I didn't really know what the heck was going on, but I'm like, this is awesome. And one of the days I like ate a chocolate covered nut and I'm allergic to like 3 kinds of nuts. And I was like, oh, that kind of feels like almonds. I'm not sure, but I'm like, am I going to have a reaction? Nope, not having a reaction. Okay, it probably wasn't an almond. And I'm like, man, it really seemed like it was an almond. I don't know. So I went home and came back the next day, and I was like, hi, can I look at that bag of candy you have, those chocolate covered nuts? And I'm like, do they happen to be almonds? And she's like, yep, almonds. I'm like, oh my God. Because I had just maybe a month before that had a reaction. I've always been super allergic to nuts and almonds, especially. I had never really tasted one, you know, because I just blow up and turn into I had to go to the hospital once. But she's like, yeah, they're almonds. And I'm like, I made sure to eat one before I asked her to. I'm like, nope, nothing happened. And she's like, yes. I'm like, I have been allergic to those my whole life. And this is gone. She's like, well, I guess that's just not true for your body anymore. I'm like, what? Not true for my body anymore? What are you talking about? Like, it can just disappear? She's like, yeah. And I think she was a little nervous, like, what? She's like, maybe don't be eating like a bag of almonds tomorrow or anything. Because she was like, is this real? And I'm like, this is real. And so the next day after class ended, I got like raw almond butter and almonds and like every kind of flavor because they're so good. I had no idea. And to this day, I eat almonds every day. And the other two, if I do get like a reaction, I can pock and pod it away. Like it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, I feel it a little bit. Maybe I'll get like a fat lip, but then I just pock and pod it. And I'm like, okay, everywhere where I've made this true for my body. But whatever happened in that foundation, completely gone, which was super helpful because anytime I go home, my mom forgets. I mean, she was my mom, but she forgets that I'm allergic to nuts, and she puts almonds in like everything, like in smoothies, so you can't even see them. So I don't even have to get like almost killed by my mother anymore either.
Well, that's good for her that she can't kill you anymore.
She thought it was hilarious. She's like, sorry.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, I love what you said though. You changed something that you didn't even know that you wanted to change.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the differences about this, like, especially now there's so many workshops and things out there on creating your life and everything. And you can walk into like, now it's 3.5 days and you can just have like, I don't even know what's going on, but I would like something different. And what shows up is based on what you show up with. You know, it's like it's created by the people who show up and what you bring to the class. And we have this fucking awesome manual that, you know, can like guide us in different directions. But the energetics of what you can change, it's like, I love that you said that because it's like you don't. Sometimes what you think you like, if you're like, oh, I would be happy if I went out and bought a house that was, you know, that I liked better or something. But that's actually has nothing to do with what would give you actual happiness. Like maybe
right.
you have body stuff or like whatever, you know.
Or do you even really?
If you could figure it out, you would have figured it out.
Yes, exactly. Or do you even want to own a house? You have to do the yard and fix everything. And I'm like, oh, no wonder I haven't like bought a house yet. But now I might be ready.
I love being a renter. You know why? Because here's another crazy thing that I know about myself. And this is like, what's your reality and where do you find it? I like to move. I've moved like 30 times in my, 40 some years of being alive. I get really bored after about 3 years. I want a new place. Yes. I don't want to be here anymore. I'd like to pack up and go. So I'm like, that's me. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else.
It's not very Midwestern.
It's not very Midwestern.
You're breaking the rules.
I might be, avoiding being Midwestern a little bit. Like, oh my God, living in one place forever.
That's so funny.
But yeah, so it's like, it's really about finding like how Alice and I create our life doesn't, Alice and I have two very different lives. I'd say the thing that we have that is such a combo in it is like, we're crazy, number one. Number two, it's like to really like use these magical tools to create our lives. You know what I mean? Like all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes, what do you desire to create? And if you don't know, like, that's okay. Yeah. I most of the time don't know. You know, I'm like, I don't know what I want to create. I just know I'm going that way today. You know, like
Exactly. And the cool thing, people will come to class, the foundation class, with specific things they want to change or things that they don't know why they're there or whatever. You know, once you get into the class, the contribution of everyone in the class, you start getting ideas, you start clearing things, you start moving energies, and ideas, desires and stuff start to come in. And even the impossible, like I just want to tell another quick story, because I wanted to go, it was over COVID, so it was like another one-on-one foundation that I was facilitating. And this lady, she had fallen off a horse. She's like either broken her back or, you know, injured herself in such a way that she couldn't have kids anymore. And it was like proven with x-rays that this is impossible. And she came in for the first day of the 4 days, and she's like, I want to be able to have a baby, but this, and this is why I can't. And I'm like, well, you know, I can't promise you anything, but let's just pock and pod stuff and go through this class, and we'll put that out there as a request, and we'll see what you allow to show up. Like with you using these tools, with you, us, whatever we can clear, we're not going to make that like the super target, but we're just going to throw it in the air and request that too. And we went through the whole class, so much changed. It was awesome. And then a month later, month or 3 months, I swear, I think it was just a month, she was like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what? So it's like, even the impossible, like proven by doctors, your skeleton will not allow you to birth something. All the foundation, the solid foundation that is proof that you cannot be any greater than you are, is not actually true. And you can change anything, even the physical stuff, even the solid energetic stuff. And I'm just like, wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't even know sometimes until you get there that you do have physical stuff, but you have a lot of fucking mental, solid stuff that you've decided is the way that it is. Like, you have to work hard to have money, or, you know, I'm Midwestern, so I'm just going to throw in all the Midwestern ones.
Yeah.
But you don't even realize, because they're so like, you know, they've been surrounding you your whole life. So you don't even realize that they're not even actually yours. So the moment you let it all go, then you can actually be like, okay, you know, cool. What else is possible? And I think it's cool because it's not just getting rid of bad stuff. It's, you have these, like, you know, pock and pot is the point of creation and the point of destruction. So it's like, sometimes you just need to like get the crap out of the way so that you can have the gloriousness that's like right on the other side of it.
Yeah. Get the lies out of the way.
Yeah. And like you said, it's like, it can happen like that. So
yeah. Dane said something today that I just loved. I'm like, oh, I'm going to remember that. And like, what can you choose? Maybe this could be your thing too. But he said, the dream that you want to follow is the dream that lights you up, and it's not a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
So what if the future you were asking for was just literally as simple as something that lights you up, a future that lights you up, and wasn't a solution to a problem that you're trying to fix from the past or judging yourself for, or anything like that. I was like, yeah, I love that.
I do too. And it reminds me, the very first class I took with Gary Douglas was a choice for possibilities. And he was just like, what if the purpose of life is to have fun? And I'm like, oh, that just takes off all the pressure.
Yes. Like, really? All right.
Really? And I still have to remind myself, like, because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of like, oh, do I need to like set some goal, you know, like set some targets and set some goals and like create more? And it's like, what if the entire purpose of your life is to fucking just enjoy it and have fun?
Even with taxes and crappy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, what? You can have fun with that too. Like, for real.
For real.
I'm just laughing about Ileana's comment. She said, well, first she said, foundation is a multi-toolkit for every area of life. And then she said, if you want to be able to eat almonds, change houses, or get pregnant, come to this class.
Hey, it's basically a world of possibilities. What do you want? What do you want to create? What do you want to change? And everything that you think you can't have, or that you shouldn't have, that you really want to have, you can have.
Yep.
Cole was asking about if we can speak about the new foundation class and how amazing it is now. So as you may or may not know, I think I said it earlier, the foundation class changes every year. It gets rewritten by the founders and creators, Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here. And typically, I don't know, there is no typical. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little bit of change. But last year, it was a whole lot of change. Like the entire thing was changed. There were body processes that had been in the manual for like a decade, and it got replaced with new body processes. I don't even know all the stuff that changed because I just don't.
I'm looking at the manual here and I'm just like, yes. Like, well, if you didn't know what was there before, then we can't tell you what changed now. Yes. But a lot of stuff changed, and a lot of stuff is changing now. And the facilitators, like when you go to a foundation class, your facilitators, one of their jobs is to know what's going on currently in Access. And so there's all these things, like the big 5 is in the foundation manual, but now there's all these new things like the pressure to push against and electromagnetics and like all these things that are blowing up my world. And before Megan came on here, she's like, I feel weird. I'm like, I wonder why. We just got out of this class called the The Gift of Future class. And so your facilitators for the foundation are always, up on what is new, and they add those things to the foundation too. So even though the foundation gets rewritten every year, it also you get like more than the rewrite every class as things are changing in Access. It's a constant change, a constant possibility for more, and it's basically constantly updating.
Yeah. It is constantly updating. No holding back.
No holding back.
And I think that's also really cool because it's the other thing that I love about just Access consciousness in general is how fast it is. So it's like I even have to remind myself, like I literally, whatever I thought was the biggest problem, I can change in a nanosecond. And if I'm willing to just let it go, it can be gone.
Yep.
Especially like when you want to yell at your dog during a whole Facebook Live. She wants to say something, but she doesn't want to come up here.
That's so funny. I love that. It basically gives you no fear for life. You get to.
Yes.
I'm dealing with, the city of Denver, where a year ago I'd have been like, no way, take my business. And they're like, you just need to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, that's Chinese. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I literally relax. You can I just open up something, my foundation manual, the reference materials, anything. And if something looks like Chinese to me and is super this reality, I open it up. I read some stuff. I relax. I look tomorrow. It's less Chinese. That night, I open up my manual, I read my reference materials, I pock and pod, put on a loop, and then the next day, it's like someone rewrote it, and it's clear as day. Like, not even clear as mud. It is clear. I'm like, oh, I just have to get a new fire extinguisher. Like, that is not what it said before, okay? Like, it's awesome.
Oh, my God.
It's like you change your future and reality the more you are getting rid of the lies and being present with what really is. And I don't know of any better class to do that than the foundation, no matter where you're at.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So Jefferson's asking about a class link. So there are actually...
Not that he wants to get pregnant.
But he kind of wants to I think he just wants the house and the almonds. There are foundation classes happening all over the world every single weekend. Thousands of them offered by certified facilitators. Alison and I have one this weekend in Denver. If you want to come play in Denver, the global foundation for the rewrite of this manual, which will be hilarious. It'll probably all change again because it's like everything's changing so fast. That's actually coming up in May in Prague. So that's always a great one to be on. If you've had foundation in the last 12 months, you get a repeat price on that. It's a little, pro tip. To me, like to have 3.5 days with Gary and Dane at a repeat price is like gold.
Yeah.
So check it out. And, it may be now that you'd like to do the foundation. It might be later. some people just love doing the foundation class and they do it over and over again.
Gary
So
says like 90 or 99% of 90% of your problems you can handle with the foundation.
yes.
Or 99%, I forget, but it's all in the foundation. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you can literally, like Alison was saying, if you've got something going on, you can wake up and just like, okay, ask, and then open the manual, and it'll be a page that you need to read, and it just like changes everything. So if you'd like fast change and a world of possibilities and, you know, exploration of the magic that you actually are, then check out a foundation class sometime.
Yeah. And if you're trying to figure out which one to take where or whatever, just ask, okay, which one matches the energy of the future I'm asking for? Like which one expands your world? And no matter if you've never even heard of the Facilitator or you didn't think you wanted to go to like China. Just what if you just chose it because it matched that energy? The more you choose those things that match the energy of the future you're asking for, the faster you're going to get that future, the faster it will be here.
Cool.
Yay!
Thanks, Alison.
Thanks, Megan. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. See you later.